Hi, I'm Owen Casey Stevens, and this is the story of how I badly failed my wife, and as a result, she nearly died of embarrassment. Um, as a result of very unfortunate timing, my wife's father died a few days before my sister, Fern, got married. As a result, my wife LJ had to deal with such lovely timing issues as having a rehearsal dinner and a funeral on the same day, and having a wake and a wedding on the same day. To make matters worse, just in case that wasn't enough emotional shock, my wife had agreed to do centerpieces for the tables at the reception after my sister's wedding. So my sister had provided us with some pretty ribbon and some flowers and other little decorative things that she thought were appropriate and matched the colors of her wedding. But we did not have a whole lot of spare time since we were also dealing with the funeral, and LJ was perhaps not quite as emotionally together as she is normally when she takes on a project like that. So as the time to get these things to the church so that the church people would be able to lay them out on the reception tables in time approached, we realized we were running out of time. And my wife decided that all of the ribbon and the flowers and such would look best if we had a physical object that lifted them up off the table a little bit. And as a result, we went to a craft store and we bought a lot of craft wood and we bought some spare scrap wood. And the plan was to take a piece of craft wood, which was sort of an elongated octagon, tape the ribbon or glue the ribbon around it, put the flower on top. Before that, she sprayed the whole thing gold, it matched the colors, and she put a little piece of scrap wood underneath, hidden by the ribbon, so that it would sit lifted up off the table as the centerpiece. And I thought they were lovely. Roughly halfway through getting them all done, as my wife is holding one of these octagonal pieces of wood, and she's spray painting it gold, she stops, she looks at me, and she says, "Oh my God, this looks like a coffin. I've made dozens of tiny coffins for my sister-in-law's wedding. What are we going to do?" And I said, "Sweetheart, calm down. Look, I know that you're in a particular emotional place right now, so of course it looks like a coffin to you. It's just an elongated octagon. It's not narrow at one end. It might maybe look like the top of a small box or something, but there's nothing particularly funerary about it. It does not look like a coffin." Just like, "Okay, but even if it doesn't look like a coffin, I just realized I'm just gluing scrap wood on under the ribbon. If anyone picks it up and they turn it over, it's going to be raw wood, and it's going to be a weird shape, and there's going to be glue all over the place." And I said, "Honey, it's a centerpiece. All right, this is a wedding. People are going to be talking, people are going to be dancing, they're going to be drinking, they're going to be taking pictures. No one is going to take the time to pick up the centerpiece and say, 'I wonder how this was put together.' All right, there's nothing to worry about." And my wife was very, very tired, and as a result, very, very trusting, and she believed me. So fast forward to the day of the wedding. The wedding itself, the ceremony went off great, no problems. We go out to where the reception is. Every table has these nice little centerpieces on them. And my family includes some what we call the South Carolina end of the family. These have some distant cousins, many of whom are very, very craft-oriented folks. Some of them have built models, they do a lot of woodcraft, and they do a lot of clothing and flower arranging, and they're just interested in how these things are done. And so LJ and I are sitting at one of the tables, and one of these cousins from South Carolina comes along, and she looks at the centerpiece, and she says, "Well, Ma, that rather looks a little bit just like a little coffin." And LJ sort of loses all color in her face, and I'm feeling like I'm probably a dead man. And then my cousin picks it up, and she looks under it. "Oh." And she puts it down, and she wanders off. And LJ is just sort of shaking, and I feel badly because everything I assured her would never happen did in the first 90 seconds. And so to make LJ feel better, I'm saying, "Honey, it's all right. Only Fern knows that you did all these, and she wasn't here to see that, so there's no way that my cousin—" And as I'm saying this, my cousin goes over to where my sister is, and we hear Fern say, "Oh yeah, LJ made all of those." I look over at my wife, and she is slowly sinking down in the hopes that she can disappear or die. To her credit, she has never blamed me for the terrible, horrible, no good advice I gave her in that moment that turned out not to so much be good times.